You're watching WION World is One. I'm Shivan Charna. This is Speed News. Let's start. Ukrainian President Zelensky has accused Russia of using its Shadow Fleet tankers to launch and control drones targeting European countries, citing intelligence reports. Zelensky also condemned the ongoing barrage of drones and missiles fired into Ukraine by Russia overnight, which caused the deaths of at least 4 people. Zelensky asserted that Moscow intends to continue fighting and called for the world to apply the harshest pressure on Russia. Russia has claimed that its recent attacks targeted only military sites.
Сьогодні весь день після російського удару тривала.
Ukrainian forces carried out strikes in Belgorod targeting the local thermal power plant, which caused significant power outages and disruptions to electricity and water supply in the city. The mayor of the Belgorod region confirmed damage to critical infrastructure, leading to blackouts and affecting essential services. US citizen Amir Amiri has been released by the Taliban government in Afghanistan following months of negotiations led by Qatari mediators and a visit by Washington's special envoy on hostages. Detained since December 2024, Amiri is now on his way back to the United States. The Taliban emphasized their diplomatic outreach and their diplomatic approach, stating that issues involving foreign nationals should not be politicized. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio praised Qatar's efforts and highlighted the administration's commitment, reinforced by President Donald Trump's executive order to protect Americans from wrongful detention abroad. This marks the 5th American freed by the Taliban this year through Qatari mediation. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has announced that he is ending his re-election campaign. In a social media video, Adams highlighted achievements like reducing violent crime, but said that media speculation and the city's decision to withhold public campaign funds made it impossible to continue. The one-term Democrat's exit comes days after he insisted that he would remain in the race. Though speculation about his future it has swirled for a year. His campaign had been badly hurt by a dismissed federal bribery case and backlash from progressives over his ties to Donald Trump. New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani has responded to Mayor Eric Adams dropping out of the race by saying it's time to actually think about New Yorkers. Mamdani criticized Adams for prioritizing decisions influenced by Donald Trump and wealthy donors, which he said harmed working class through rent hikes, higher utility bills, and worsening the city's cost of living crisis. Mamdani, a progressive Democrat himself, has campaigned on putting working class New Yorkers first. Federal agents patrolled Chicago streets on Sunday as part of Donald Trump's intensified crime crackdown. Their presence drew protests with crowds chanting ICE, go home. Despite falling rates of violent crime in many U.S. cities, Trump has focused heavily on crime targeting Democratic-led cities, including Chicago, Los Angeles, and Washington. His crackdown has sparked legal challenges and public protests. A gunman opened fire during Sunday services at a Latter-day Saints church in Grand Blanc Township in Michigan, killing 4 persons and injuring 8 before police shot him. Authorities say the 40-year-old suspect rammed his vehicle into the building. They then opened fire and likely set the church ablaze. Flames burned for hours as first responders worked through the wreckage, with officials warning more victims may be found. Police have not identified a motive. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer opened the Labour Party's annual conference by reassuring members of his ability to lead against the rising threat from Nigel Farage's hard-right Reform UK party. He emphasised the need for unity to confront this challenge. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese also spoke at the conference, expressing his commitment to defending democracy alongside Starmer. Albanese criticised the growing politics of fear and resentment both in the UK and globally, calling for collective action and solidarity to confront these issues.
But in our mighty global movement, you never walk alone.
Several protesters supporting Palestine action, they were arrested outside the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. Roughly 100 demonstrators held signs stating, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine action." Police made arrests on suspicion of endorsing a proscribed organisation, as Palestine Action was banned as a terror group in July after claiming responsibility for damage to planes at the Royal Air Force Base Norton. The demonstration was organised by Defend Our Juries, which accused the Labour Party of failing to prevent genocide. The arrests occurred on the first day of Labour's annual conference as the party's leaders sought to position Labour as an alternative to Reform UK. Moldova's pro-European party has taken a strong lead in the parliamentary elections, securing around over 48% of votes with 95% counted, while the pro-Russian patriotic bloc trails at just over 25%. The election is crucial in determining whether Moldova aligns more closely with the European Union or Russia. The campaign was marked by bomb threats, cyber attacks and reports of ballot irregularities. Police detained suspects accused of plotting post-election unrest. Cameroon's presidential campaign began this weekend with President Paul Biya's supporters highlighting his long existence, his long experience, while opposition candidate Cabral Libi rallied crowds demanding change after over 40 years of Biya's rule. In Bo, the ruling party promoted Biya as the stabilizing choice despite security issues, while in Dula, Libi's supporters expressed frustration with Biya's lengthy tenure and called for new leadership. Libi presents himself as a youthful alternative to the 91-year-old Biya, who has led the nation since 1982. The campaign will culminate in elections on the 12th of October. In Morocco, scores of people were arrested during a second consecutive day of protests led by the youth collective Gen Z 212, demanding reforms in education and public health. The protests, which also saw dozens of arrests on Saturday, faced heavy police crackdowns in cities including Rabat, Casablanca, Marrakesh, Agadir and Souk Sets Hakim Sikou. President of the Rabat section of the Moroccan Association for Human Rights condemned the arrests and even criticized the security-oriented response to the social demands of young people. Peru's youth continue to rally against President Dina Boluarte, resulting in clashes with the police. Gen Z protesters in Lima expressed frustration with the police, saying they only stand guard and do nothing else. One protester accused them of gathering bravely when facing protesters, but being absent or late when dealing with street crime, which is infuriating for residents. And this reflects a broader sentiment among the youth involved in ongoing protests against the government, fueled by issues like corruption, pension reforms and perceived police inaction. Feminist groups marked the Global Day of Action for Legal, Safe and Accessible Abortion with peaceful rallies in several South American cities. Hundreds gathered in Peru's capital Lima, urging lawmakers to pass pro-reproductive rights laws. In Ecuador's Quito, protesters marched against restrictions. Mexico City saw vibrant street dancing by feminist collectives. The events highlighted ongoing demands for wider, safer abortion access across Latin America. Tropical storm Imelda, which formed on Sunday, is expected to become a hurricane, likely moving away from the U.S. East Coast early this week. The storm is causing heavy rain and flooding in the Bahamas and Cuba, with tropical storm warnings in parts of the Bahamas and a watch in Florida. Meanwhile, Hurricane Humberto remains a strong Category 4 storm, threatening Bermuda. Flights to and from the islands have been cancelled, with airports expected to open after midnight if weather conditions improve. The Bahamas Meteorology Department forecasts continued heavy rain over Nassau, Andro Island, San Salvador and Long Island. West Bengal government has launched emergency measures ahead of forecasted heavy rainfall starting 1st of October. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has directed officials to stay alert, with all departments on standby following recent torrential rains causing 12 deaths due to rain and electrocution. A control room staffed by a senior IAS officer will monitor the situation around the clock, and this control room will operate throughout the festive season from 26th of September to 7th of October and other key dates in October. The India Meteorological Department predicts a low pressure area over the Bay of Bengal, bringing isolated heavy to very heavy rainfall in West Bengal from the 2nd to the 4th of next month. Telegram founder Pavel Durov has accused French intelligence of trying to pressure him into censoring Moldovan voices in exchange for help with his court case in France. Durov said that while he was stuck in Paris last year, an unidentified intermediary asked him to remove certain anti-government channels in the run-up to the 2024 Moldovan presidential election. Durov said that while a few channels were deleted for violating platform rules, he added that it was unacceptable that the intermediary claimed French intelligence would speak favorably to the judge handling his arrest in return. France's foreign ministry dismissed the allegations, saying Durov likes making accusations, pointing to earlier claims he made about France trying to manipulate politics in Romania during the 2025 Romanian presidential election. Durov was arrested in France in 2024 and remains under judicial supervision while facing charges for hosting organized crime on Telegram. Durov has denied the allegations, calling them legally and logically absurd. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has pledged major improvements to the security of government administrative systems after a major fire at the National Data Center crippled online services around the country. The blaze broke out on Friday, September 26th at the National Information Resources Service in Daejeon and was put out the following day. The outage caused disruptions to postal, shipping and financial services just ahead of the Chuseok holidays in South Korea. South Korea's safety minister has said that around 46 government services have been restored, adding that the other 96 systems affected by the fire will take longer to restore. The facility acts as a cloud server for hundreds of government systems. Investigators suspect the fire was sparked by a lithium-ion battery made by LG Energy Solution during maintenance. The company has declined to comment, citing ongoing probe. Citizens of Switzerland will soon be able to use digital identity cards in a nationwide referendum. Voters narrowly approved the plan with 50.4% backing electronic IDs and 49.6% rejecting them. This is the second time the country has voted on the issue. In the year 2021, voters rejected an earlier version of the e-ID, largely due to the role of private companies in the system. This time, the government emphasized the system will be state-run, it will be free and it will be optional. A digital ID works like a secure online passport. It allows people to prove their identity for tasks like opening a bank account and accessing government services. Authorities say the system will make life easier and bring Switzerland in line with its European neighbors, many of which are rolling out similar digital wallets. Critics, however, warn that it could erode privacy and open the door to mass surveillance. Oil prices edged lower as investors took profits following recent gains despite ongoing concerns over tight supply and strong global demand. Brent crude fell to around $69.6 a barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate dropped to somewhere near $65.13. The market remains watchful of potential disruptions from weather events and supply limits imposed by OPEC+. Analysts caution that volatility continues to drive short-term trading, with investors balancing risk and opportunity in the current uncertain environment. Gold prices edged higher, trading near $3,790 per ounce, just shy of last week's record high. This marks a sixth consecutive weekly gain. Traders are closely monitoring the potential US government shutdown, which could delay the release of key jobs data and cloud the Federal Reserve's monetary policy path. The uncertainty has heightened demand for safe haven assets like gold. Additionally, expectations of a potential pause or a reduction in interest rates by the Federal Reserve have further supported gold prices. Investors are awaiting upcoming economic data to gauge the Fed's next move. Asian markets opened cautiously as investors braced for a potential US government shutdown that could delay crucial economic data. US futures saw modest gains while Asian indices were mixed. Japan's Nikkei down 0.7% and South Korea's Kospi was up to 1.2%. Treasuries and the dollar remained steady amid tight supply concerns and Fed watch. Volkswagen Group is set to overhaul its Indian operations in response to heavy competition, policy shifts and a massive tax dispute. The company faces a $1.4 billion import tax claim, potentially rising to $2.8 billion with penalties for alleged misclassification of imports to bolster its presence. India have clinched the Asia Cup title for a record-extending ninth time. The men in blue claimed victory over Pakistan. It was a thrilling final which went right up till the last over. India won by 5 wickets. India refused to collect the Asia Cup trophy from PCB chief Mohsin Naqvi after the win. India won the toss and opted to field first. India took 9 wickets for just 33 runs as Pakistan were bundled out for 146. Now, Kuldeep Yadav was the pick of the bowlers, finishing with figures of 4 for 30. Tilak Verma's unbeaten 69 helped India win the match with 2 balls to spare.